FPUC. It's in the third stimulus package at $400 a week from March to August. But what is FPUC? What is UI? And what's PUA? And how do you do escalated benefits that could go all the way back retro to the date at which you went unemployed? How much can you make for escalated benefits? And what is certifying for beds? What's PUC? And what is UI versus PUA? In this Overnight LA throwback video, I explain all these questions about unemployment as well. Enjoy Overnight LA overnight video on unemployment. FPUC has been extended, but are states paying it or not? Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is LA. Hope you're great and safe. This is our update about FPUC with really in-depth new reports today about whether states are paying the new extension of FPUC, which lands at $400 or $300, depending if Larry Kudlow has a calculator or not. This is Afternoons LA that starts every day at 3:30 with the check, then goes to hazard pay, then FPUC, and finally rent assistance. Really great news was announced last Saturday when an executive order was issued by the president which extended FPUC. The extension of FPUC under the executive order put it at $400 per week. But by Monday, the Monday after last Saturday, that was changed. What happened was Larry Kudlow appeared on national news and said, I reached out to states and states couldn't pay that money, so the federal government will take up the money themselves and pay all of it at $300 a week. Let me explain simply what's going on. If you are certifying for benefits for UI or PUA for weeks after late July, you're on the new calculated amount. And the executive order now calls for $300 a week, not $600 and not $400 a week. The good news is that for the weeks that are at issue from March to July, you are still at $600 a week. It doesn't matter when you certify for those weeks. It doesn't matter when you apply for those weeks. It doesn't matter when you're paid for those weeks. Just for those weeks that concern your activity from the month of March to late July, you're still at $600. That's the first stimulus package. For the purposes of the second stimulus package, are states now paying the $300 a week under the new program starting in late July? I have the answer for you now. No, they're not. Now, it depends on your respective state. There might be isolation. I didn't queue every single state to do today's report, but I queued a lot of them, and they've actually issued statements, and they're saying they're not doing it. The additional concern before I get to the detail is that there may not be enough money to keep this going. This FPUC money actually does not come directly from Treasury by some accounts of the reporting released today. It's coming from FEMA that does not have unlimited resources, unlike Treasury. This is actually, the people who print the dollar bills. They can print as many dollar bills as they want. FEMA doesn't print dollar bills. FEMA is, they print scarves or something like that. Let me get right to the details. Georgia. Is Georgia paying it? No. In addition to the total free federal funds issued to Georgia by the federal pandemic FPUC totaling over 523. Over the 19 weeks, we've issued more than $8.3 billion of FPUC. This is before the new executive order. We provided an additional $600 a week for every individual eligible for both state and federal compensation, but the program ended July 31st. Here's the operative language, if the Congress decides to extend or change the supplement, Georgia will update its website to reflect the new program. AKA, Georgia is not going to be paying any FPUC under the Larry Kudlow $300 a week program. Next, Kansas. Kansas going to do it? No. President Trump recently, this is actually a tweet from the Kansas Department of Labor. Kansas recently issued an executive memorandum hoping to restart the FPUC program at the rate of $400 a week. instead of the previous $600 a week. Now, this is before Larry Kudlow came and said now it's $300 a week. However, this is Kansas continuing, the memorandum is broad and there are concerns about its legality. We are waiting on additional guidance from our federal partners so that we can evaluate if this temporary program extension is possible. We know that Kansas is hurting and we want to provide as much certainty as possible to families during this difficult time. The only way to ensure that certainty is for Congress to act by passing a permanent bipartisan solution that states can implement. We will provide updates as they become available. Same statement as Georgia. We're not paying it. We don't think it's legal. We don't think it's possible. More about that in a second. And we're not going to do it until Congress does it. What are they talking about when they say it's not possible? There's you can have a lot of interpretation about this. Let me explain what's happened, because I've detailed it a little bit, but it's a little bit complicated. Before the executive order, Steve Mnuchin was going to have states, no, let me back up. Under the executive order, there was supposed to be originally a disbursement of FPUC based upon this inherently very complicated calculation of your 2019 earnings, and as 70% of them, you times it by this. States told Steve Mnuchin, stop it. We can't do this. We don't know the numbers. We don't have access to unemployed people's 2019 tax returns. And we just don't have computers robust enough to do that. If you tell us it's $300, fine, we can do that. I call that the pure FPUC. It's just a pure number. They can put in the computer, their 1972 Hewlett-Packard K-Pro or whatever they're using. They can put in their $200 with a computer programmer that looks like Rick Moranis from Revenge of the Nerds. I mean, these are very, very old computers. I have to give you the visual. They're just old computers. They're older than most members of Congress. It's just very old computers. They can't do these things. They can put in a simple number and they can do that. They said that to Steve, but they said, don't do this other stuff. So there's that issue about what is possible. The other thing that is what is possible when they're referring to it in Kansas, if it's possible, is the issue about FEMA. A lot of people think FEMA does not have the funds to carry this. A lot of people think that this is sort of I don't know what you would call it. It's sort of like a window-dressed offer, the executive order, that ultimately won't have enough funds behind it to get the payments out. Now, someone had a really nice comment overnight. They said, hey, I love your channel. I'm glad I found you. You're not a red, you're not a blue channel. You just tell the facts. I tell you the facts. If Nancy's doing something wrong, I tell you. If Steve's telling you to do something wrong, I tell you. This is the purple channel. In this regard, the FPUC is not getting support from the states, and I don't even know if Kansas is a red state governor or a blue state governor. I haven't even looked it up, or Georgia, but I'm just telling you the responses. Now let me go to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania actually had a more robust discussion about the matter, and the discussion came from Governor Tom Wolf, and he issued a very long statement saying, hey, we have a very big problem here. He wants to extend FPUC, so there's no dispute about it. He says, I previously wrote about extending FPUC. It's needed for Pennsylvania families, job losses. I got that. After FPUC expired on July 31st, President signed an executive order. We all understand that. The executive order, he then talks about it. States must cover 25% of benefit costs. He then explains it. Now, let me pause before I continue with Mr. Wolf's remarks. States are going bankrupt. I mean, I don't care what Steve Mnuchin said to CNBC on Monday, that states have a lot of money and they're not using the money. They're going bankrupt. There's no dispute about it. They're running out of money. States have already said we have to go to borrow. We have to start borrowing because we're running out of cash. We don't have enough cash to exist. The reason why is because they have to spend a lot of money on stuff they would normally not spend money on, like testing, and they're not making a lot of revenue because a lot of businesses shut down. So Governor Wolf continues and says the alternate solution of the president's memorandum is that UC benefits, unemployment benefits, can be paid. Is that states can use UC benefits to pay the state portion. If Pennsylvania uses this option, the perception it will be that state has sorted claims by $100 by counting that money against those receiving the money. I ask you to include additional state and local aid in the next stimulus package. So here is his urging to Congress and to Nancy and to Steve and to Mark Meadows and to Chuck Schumer. Simply put, states, including Pennsylvania, do not have the funds to meet this mandatory $100 match. Now, ironically, what's interesting here is that this is what Larry Kudlow said on Wednesday. There originally was states were supposed to put a certain amount of money in, and then the federal government was supposed to put the remainder amount. It would come to $400. Now, Larry Kudlow says states say they can't afford it. It'll just be the federal government at $300. But states still say we can't do this. This is just it won't work. Additional state and local aid, as outlined in the HEROES Act, would be required to implement this program as directed by the president. So he now says, if you want us to roll out FPUC, we have to spend money even to get a number into the computer system. Computer programmers are not free. There's not enough. Okay, then here comes the big ticket shocker, the bombshell. As this channel has expanded over the last few months. It started in April as the "Who is that guy?" channel. In May, it was bombshell, as I always said, bombshell on camera in my EIDL videos. Then June was the Javita Late channel. July was Blaine 66, and this month is the Purple Shirt Guy channel. But he talks about FEMA, and here's the bombshell. There's not enough FEMA funding to sustain the program beyond a few weeks. He's saying that the executive order last Saturday for FPUC can't even last more than a few weeks. Numerous outlets have cited this. If the 30 million unemployed Americans currently eligible for unemployment benefits collected this lost wage assistance, the $44 billion allocation of FEMA, listen carefully, this is the biggest part of this entire video. The $44 billion allocation of FEMA funding for the disaster relief fund will run out in about 5 to 6 weeks. Even if unemployment declines, the program will be out of funding by October. There's not a long-term solution that Pennsylvanians need to remain financially secure. Simply translated, there's not enough money for FEMA to do this. This is not Steve Mnuchin's Treasury money. When we talk about second stimulus check earlier in the video two before this, that comes from the Treasury. This is FEMA money. There's no FEMA money to do this. It's going to run out. Now, ironically, I'm not being facetious. I'm being, reporting the facts. Ironically, none of the states want to do it. So it may not run out because no one's doing it. So his claim that's going to run out in October may not happen, and it may actually still last longer because no one's doing it. But so far, that's why they're not doing it. States must create a new system to make these payments. Okay, now this is what I've also talked about. The problem is that there seems to be a confusion by Nancy and Steve as to how Americans get FPUC. It's not so simple as, okay, here's a dollar figure, just send it out. That works for Treasury for the stimulus check. Steve just sends out a check. Treasury prints checks. IRS prints checks all day long. They know how to do that. That's very simple. This one is not technically feasible. He says states must create a new computer system to make these payments. Per information provided the U.S. Labor on August 11th with call with FEMA in the states are forbidden from using their unemployment trust fund to quickly pay the $300 payment and then reimburse the fund. States must make separately. Many states are still reeling from rapidly setting up a PUA system and now struggling under a tidal wave of fraudulent claims. They're saying that they ramped up these systems very quickly and now they can't catch up. And now you're asking me to do something else we can't. Creating yet another completely new computer system, will be exceedingly labor intensive, especially for a program that exists for a maximum of 4 weeks and unlikely only several weeks. He's saying, why the hell are we spending all this money for something that's going to exist for, to December? AKA, send out the money from the federal government with the federal government's money. Why are you having our states, go bankrupt on doing a computer system that's very complicated for all of a few weeks? Additionally, this program would take time to test and create, taxing the system, and goes on. This will be especially difficult based upon that we have timelines set for October. Now, what's important to understand is that, I don't know if members of Congress ever talk to their citizens of their states. I mean, it's like they're sort of in an altered universe. But I've been with you, you've been with me. I have OGs, original viewers of this channel, back to April, and I was with them from the very first beginning when we talked about FPUC, and people waited for not weeks, but months to get money from Texas and Florida and Hawaii and Illinois, states that were very far behind technically with the computer systems. So when they applied, they got their applications in the first day. They didn't get paid for months later because the computer systems were out of date. They're just slow. They were backlogged. They weren't ready to do it. So as we sit here today and Larry Kudlow and Steve Mnuchin think that these things could sort of be rolled out very quickly, they can't. And as Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin argue over $500 to $600 or $400 to $600, you have to ask the question, why? Just get it done, because there's going to be a delay. Here's my spin on the subject. I have been reporting for several weeks. The ultimate agreement upon FPUC will be a pure number of $400 to $600 a week. It'll be just like how the first stimulus package had it. And it'll be done the same way, federal money. It won't be FEMA money. It's just normal FPUC allocation of money. I've also warned that there will be a backlog as to getting that money out to people. It will be retroactive, but there will be a backlog and it won't be quick. And that the problem that I'm seeing with the situation now is that, hey, you should have gotten to this back before it expired, because now when you approve it and agree upon it, it's going to be really backed up. As I sit here today on a Saturday afternoon in blistering hot weather here in Los Angeles, thank you for joining me. I don't know of any state yet, well, I don't know of a lot of states yet that have come out and said, yes, we have paid the $300 a week. It was so easy, and we've already paid a penny. So what I want you to do is drop in the comments below if you're on UI or PUA in your state and your state has already paid you the $300 a week under the new program. I'm not talking about the $600 a week. I'm talking about for weeks that have happened in late July and now August. Have you been paid the $300, $400 under the new stimulus package of the executive order last week? I'd love to know. And state the state in which you are. If you haven't, say the same thing as well. If you're in a state and you're receiving $600 a week every single week, and then suddenly, we're in August, tell me what happened. Did your states just stop paying it? I'd love to know. Ultimately, I have this reporting. There's ironically not a lot of reports out there as to what every state is doing. But coming up next is rent assistance with really great news. Go to the front of this channel because I'm detailing a lot of great free money things that are coming out. 2 grant programs I detailed today. And so go to the front of this channel, hit that subscribe button and the alert button so you get an alert as soon as a new video goes live. Or I post something about a new grant program. Go to the sticky comments of this video where there's a description as to how to ensure you get the alert, because a lot of you have said you're not getting alert. And coming up next is rent assistance. As always, stay informed, stay motivated, stay smiling, and stay of LA for more.